But other people are going in as well, but they're going in with more. I remember a dear Muslim brother in 1999, he said to me, he had been in he's one of the few people I'd met that had been in all the campaigns in Afghanistan. And there was one last one going between the former rulers and the Northern Alliance. And he says, I've always sought to have permission to make intercession for my dad and other members of my family. But Allah has always brought me back empty-handed. But this time I'm going to ask again. And he stayed up making tahajjud, stayed up making tahajjud, stayed up making tahajjud. And then he went. And 4 months later, I received the news that Allah answered his request by phone. That was a noble brother. So that brother will be different to some others. That brother, by Allah's fadl, if Allah wills it, inshallah, has the 72 crowns. 70 members of his family he can make intercession for. He is safe from the fear that people will feel on the day of resurrection for their own sins. He is safer. He's safe from the punishment of the grave. All these different categories of things. He's safe from all of that. He's just waiting for the day of resurrection, hastening, Lord, bring it soon. Other people are saying, Lord, no, please. But he's, Lord, bring it soon. He's being told, now rest and enjoy the benefits. And he says, I want to go back and tell the other people that I'm fine. And Allah says, no, rest and enjoy your benefits. So there's him, but then there's other people who died on Iman and faith, and they died with very little. But the point is, they're both going in, but they have different ranks and categories within them. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi, rahimahullah, he then says, quote, then you look at the statement where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما أضاءت ما حوله ذهب الله بنورهم وتركهم في ظلمات لا يبصرون. Their likeness is the likeness of the one who stoked a fire, and when it lit up all around him, Allah caused the fire to go out and left them in the darkness without being able to see, stumbling about. So, their likeness is like the one who kindled a fire. This ayah is referring to the hypocrites. And it's referring to all of the different states and wisdoms that they can see. And them kindling the fire means that they have seen all of what has been given. It's all been brought around them. Whereas the fire, the light from the fire came all around them, Allah put out their light and left them in the darkness where they didn't see. When the light came up all around them, that is a point that has to do with metaphor. And it's referring to the metaphors of metaphors of speech that are used when one speaks. When fire rears up, the expression ada'at is used for the fire. It's the same expression used for ada' al-qamar or ada' al-qamar. The moon has reared up its light. The first is that this expression is being used for added emphasis. The second is that it's that which is encompassing, it's all around that person, that which has been lit up. So Allah is using the plural and the singular to convey an important point. So he left the hypocrites, he abandoned them in their darkness and left them according to the grammar of the Arabic languages discussed by Tha'lab, and that the statement returns back to the hypocrites, and the grammar referred to is in the plural, but sometimes using sometimes using singular for emphasis. So the plural being used at the beginning, a feminine plural like ada'at, and then binurihim, a plural at the end, and then you will have a singular at the beginning of a sentence, sometimes being used to emphasize a point, close quote. What Imam Al-Jawzi is saying is that sometimes in Arabic, the plural of a statement will be used in the beginning of a sentence, or the singular of a word will be used, to emphasize. Like if somebody says, قتلت قتلا, I did a big killing. قتلت is I killed, but قتلت قتلا, I did a major killing. ضربته ضربا شديدا, I struck him so hard. Or قتلت, I slaughtered him. Right? It depends upon the way that it's being used. But Imam Al-Jawzi rahimahullah is saying that in this ayah, Allah is emphasizing something. So it's as if you're reading, their likeness is like the one who had kindled a fire that blazed all around him in its light. And then Allah caused it to be blown out and left them stumbling in their darkness and not being able to see light. That's the power with how the ayah is read. Now he's going to talk about, because this is a parable. In Arabic, the word daraba, yadribu darban. Daraba in Arabic is often a word used to mean parable. Daraba can mean he struck, he hit, he punched, or he kicked. But daraba in Arabic, or darb, is also a word that's used to mean parable. And so this is a daraba, a parable that's being used. And Imam Al-Jawzi rahimahullah then discusses the parable. He says, quote, the scholars have differed in the wisdoms taken from the parable that Allah has given in this example, which is also metaphorical. And it describes the conditions of the hypocrites in the following ways. One is that he's making a likeness with the statement of Islam, which is spoken by the hypocrites, and its light, which has enumerated the souls, and it has gone through the bloodstream. But when they die, Allah negates all of that from him. Just as the keeper of a fire can negate its light. This meaning is taken from Ibn Abbas. Secondly, it's that the likeness being referred to is a likeness between them and the believers, and they're hearing what the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the messenger, came with, and that their light has come away from them because they found themselves inclining towards the unbelievers and astrayness. So their light was put out, as per the statement of Mujahid. The darkness here is referring to the punishment of Allah, as mentioned by Ibn Abbas. Secondly, the darkness of kufr, as said by Mujahid. Thirdly, the darkness that Allah will put over them after death, that awaits them, as mentioned by Qatada. And the fourth is that it is referring to their nifaq, as mentioned by As-Sudayn. Close quote. Now there's a couple of things here. One is when he's saying that the darkness refers to the adhab. You have to go back to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ saying, when Allah first created the fire of Jahannam, that it was so bright, it was red hot. Then it went white hot. And then the fire folded in on itself and burned itself and became black. So this is why the darkness, that darkness, the dhulumat, the shadows, being the adhab, the punishment. Right? That hadith in Sahih al-Jami. So the fire of Jahannam is in many instances, it's a blackened color. It's turned in and burned itself. And burned portions of itself. As you remember the hadith in Bukhari, where it asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I've burned portions of myself. And Allah said, then you may exhale and inhale twice a year. The summer and the winter. So that's the reason why it will be cold. It's that inhaling, the summer, the heat, it's exhaling. Right? The hadith in Bukhari. Black fire theory. They didn't know about that until a very dear Muslim brother of mine named Riyad Abdullah, Hafidullah. He said, have you heard of the black fire theory? Because he's a scientist. He says it's a theory that in space, because of the heat and the length of time that certain stars have been burning, when they fall in on themselves and go supernova, or they collapse in on themselves, that the fire burns black. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. And I was just about to quote the statement. He said, no, I remember it as well. He says, and I've written it out in Arabic. He wrote this long article that was on the internet in Arabic, and he got into this huge discussion. And all you saw is the replies after, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. People were just, they were just stunned. Because don't the scientists have all the answers? Right? Far be it from a prophet who receives revelation from the unseen from Allah. What, to second guess a scientist? Carl Sagan, the prophet of today's age, being second guessed? The way they speak about prophets, it's just some guy with bushy hair and a beard lived 1400 years ago. No, it's a little bit deeper than that. And so when you're remembering that, that's why the adhab can be referred to as the darkness. Number 2, kufr. Remember the statement of the Prophet ﷺ. Remember the statement regarding kufr, in which he said that one in which he leaves off 3 consecutive Jum'ahs without reason, their heart will be blackened. That hadith in the Sahih of Al-Bukhari shows that sin can blacken the heart and be referred to as a blackening. That's why some of the ulama say one of the things this ayah is referring to as the darkness of kufr. It is a blackening of the heart, a darkening of the heart. Number 3, the darkness that Allah shall throw over them after death. The darkness that Allah shall throw over them after death. Again, at times the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that an-nawmu akhul maut, that sleep is the brother of death. The hadith in Sahih al-Jami'. Sleep is the brother of death. An-nawmu akhul maut. Right? It's the brother of death. Because you're alive, things are going on, but your sensory perceptions are different. Right? An-nawmu akhul maut. And then fourthly, that it's nifaq. In a hadith in Sahih al-Jami', the Prophet ﷺ described nifaq as a dot that appears on the heart and gradually overtakes the heart, a dot. And gradually more of them appear and it increases. So now that you've looked at that, all of those things are referred to in the ayah. The darkness of kufr, the punishment, nifaq, kufr, all of it's referred to in the ayah. So that's why you'll find when Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah is saying, the ulama have differed about this in 4 ways. It doesn't mean that they don't know what it means. It means that there are so many wisdoms in here, we've given 4, 5, 6. And all of them apply. I've just quoted to you all 4 wisdoms. They all apply. So that's why it's important to understand that within one ayah you can get so many wisdoms. I mean, Imam Shafi'ii rahimahullah, he once quoted a 2-word hadith, and extracted 20 fatwa from that one hadith. A 2-word hadith. I mean, you think about this hadith and everybody can learn it. It's an easy hadith. Al-Hajju Arafah. This hadith is in Sahih al-Jami'. Al-Hajju Arafah. Congratulations. There are over 22 ahkam that come from that 2-word hadith that you just quoted. Subhanallah. Now you just need to find what the 22 masail. But you know that hadith. And that hadith is what is the most important hadith and one of the all-encompassing ahadith of Hajj. So much comes out of that one hadith. If you understand the one hadith and the ahkam that come with it, your Hajj is fine. Your Hajj is fine. If you don't, Lord help you. So that's why the ulama can see a wisdom in one ayah, a portion of an ayah, because there's so many ahadith that link with all these other different aspects. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he then says, quote, in regards to the likeness being given to them of the fire, there are 3 rulings to give. 1 is that which the fire is illuminating. It is being illuminated with a light from another direction, not from in front of itself. So when the fire goes out, the one that light was being thrown on him by it is left in darkness. It is as if that when they affirmed with their tongues other than that which their hearts believed, the nur of their iman at once flared up but went out because of the fact that it was not in their heart.